Hi everyone. Today I am listening to the weekly poll winner from Patreon, the one that you have chosen for me. And as usual, I am excited about it. But somehow today I feel a little bit of extra anticipation because it is a Wings piece and it is called Mull of Kintyre.
Do you remember Mull of Kintyre?
Do I remember Mull of Kintyre?
Do you remember? No,
Well,
you don't.
I haven't listened to
You
it.
haven't listened to, but back about 3 years ago,
Okay.
when you listened for the first time to Beatles' She Loves You,
Okay.
I told you back then that the single She Loves You was the best selling single in UK of any artist for 14 years. And after these 14 years, it was replaced as the best selling single by Mull of Kintyre.
Okay.
And I told you back then, you will get to listen to it. Well, today's the day.
Okay, well, today's the day then. I was just getting ready to say, it sounds a bit Scottish with a title like that. I'm curious to see what it's about and how he handles it, but we'll find out. It was written by Paul McCartney and Laine in tribute to the Kintyre Peninsula in Argyll and Bute in the southwest of Scotland, and its headland, the Mull of Kintyre, where McCartney has owned High Park Farm since 1966. Okay, so not only is it a sort of Scottish theme, topic, inspiration, of course, with the Mull of Kintyre and everything, but it also has perhaps a bit of sentimental quality to it because it's from a place that he owned. The single was Wings' biggest hit in Britain and is one of the best-selling singles of all time in the United Kingdom, where it became the 1977 Christmas #1 and was the first single to sell over 2 million copies nationwide. Oh wow. Okay, let's listen.
Mull of Kintyre, on me strolling in from the sea. My desire is always to be on Mull of Kintyre.
Okay. I secretly hoped that he would lean into the Scottish musical tradition somehow, some way. Oh, he is taking it with full embrace. The melody, the ornamentation, all of that. I'll try to point out a couple things for you. So here it's not very clear. Is this... It's just chords, right?
Mull of Kintyre, only strolling in from the sea.
Okay, so first of all, the basic melodic outline is one that is so embedded in Scottish music. It's hard. It almost feels like I've heard this somewhere before, even though I've never heard it before. Maybe I'll even think of, if I can pull it from my memory, maybe I'll even think of some Scottish tunes that might share something in common with that. But moving beyond the melody, ornamentation. He lets us know immediately in that first phrase that he is going to really dig into the Scottish element. How? Because it's something that is actually called the Scottish snap. Very often in music, we might have a long and then a short. I believe these are the notes he's using. So we might have, you hear, long, short, pretty standard. Let's see. I'm just improvising something, but you hear the long, short dum. It's a pattern that shows up, and we could straighten it. That's fine too. What he's doing is he's switching it up. So instead of long to a short, he gives it a short to a long. And so you're hearing short, long, but the short is on the beat. It's accented. So it's as if we were saying 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and then I could go 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and the final one is what he's doing. Why is it so significant? Okay, sure. Scottish folk music is not the only place that we find that rhythm, but it is such a native part of the music, and we hear it so much that it is literally called the Scottish snap. And so when he sings,
Mull of Kintyre, on me strolling in from,
and it's exaggerated or highlighted even more because the rhythms working up to that point are starting out Mull of Kintyre. So long, short, straight, straight, and straight, 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 short, long. So the reverse, the long and the short, and then the straight are everything we've heard up until that point. So when that short, long comes in, it's like a whip crack. It snaps. It really spices up the whole thing. And that is iconic Scottish traditional ornamentation and rhythmic detail. Continuing through the next line.
from the sea. My desire is always to be on Mull of Kintyre.
Aha. And notice what he's doing with his voice when he says, be here. And then on Kintyre, he has these very short little dum, bum, dum. And those are also ornamentations which are really standard Scottish traditional music. So we have a melodic shape which could have been pulled from an ages-old Scottish folk tune. We have the rhythmic ornamentation with the Scottish snap. We have the melodic ornamentation with these little turns and mordants and things. All of this is saying, I am conjuring the Scottish world. I am not just embracing, but I am living in this environment. This is the air I breathe. And it makes it feel so deeply rooted in that part of the world, in that particular place, musically. I love it. It feels so natural and so nice. And well, let's see how it goes from there. Even the tone of his voice is so traditional.
Far have I traveled, and much have I seen. Dark distant mountains with valleys of green, past pain painted deserts. The sun sets on fire as he carries me home to the Mull.
So nice.
Mull of Kintyre.
Ah,
Mist rolling in from
even the harmonization.
my desire
Traditional.
is always to be here. Oh, Mull of Kintyre.
Here comes some strings. Is that bagpipes?
Sweep through the heather like deer in the glen. Carry me back to the days I knew then. Nights when we sang like a heavenly choir of the light, and the times of the Mull of Kintyre.
Okay, gotta pause it for a minute. Many of you know that I have this strong affinity for folk music. And when I say folk music, I'm not speaking of folk in terms of the rock genre. I'm talking about the traditional music from a certain peoples or places or cultures, long tradition. Whether it's Scottish, Irish, Welsh, British, English, I mean, or American, or Canadian, or even say German. I haven't dug into all the different kinds of folk music from around the world, no, but it has been something that has been a sort of, maybe I would say, hobby of mine. If a musician is permitted to have a hobby alongside their profession, but I think it's more than a hobby. It is part of this whole the whole idea that music comes from experience. Music comes from the soul of the people. It comes from the heart of the people. It comes from the life the people lived. And when music feels right, it's because it's natural. And traditional music, folk music, that's what it is. It's not practiced. It's not created with some grand ideas in mind. It just comes from the life, the fabric of the world and the people that lived there. So I have heard and played and enjoyed a good deal of Scottish folk music. I wouldn't call myself an expert on it, but I've heard quite a bit of it. And I absolutely love the way this fits right into it. I could feel like this is a Scottish folk tune. He has done that well with it. Of course, it's dressed up with some nice sonic elements, but they enhance actually the way. Let's back up a little bit here because I enjoyed this. It was nice. So, bagpipes. What a way to bring in the Scottish Highlands. This rhythm. Choo-choo, jump. Choo-choo, choo-choo. Simple. Very traditional. Choo-choo. You hear the voice here? And then it changes. It's as if it has taken us from one place to another place and sweep through the heather like deer in the glen. Carry me back to the days I knew then. We hear one singing, very simple, very clean, very folk style voice. And then when the sound changes, not only that, but the harmony comes in too. But the sound of the voice changes. And it sounds suddenly very close and very present. Almost like it is saying that the heather is here, I am here, carry me back, but it's taking me from one place to another, where I am, where I'm thinking of. It's done without any sort of fluffing up or really modernizing the aesthetic. Although it's using modern recording techniques, modern styles and all of this, but still it feels like it belongs in Scotland. That's what it feels like.
Sweep through the heather like deer in the glen. Carry me back to the days I knew then.
I love bagpipes.
When we sang like a heavenly choir of the light and the times of the Mull of Kintyre.
So why does this melody sound so much like it belongs there? Because, as I mentioned at the beginning, okay, we have the ornamentation, but it's the melodic shape too. A lot of this music from that part of the world, the traditional music from that part of the world, tends towards certain shapes and certain harmonies. And let's see, if we were to start...
Times of the Mull of Kintyre. Mull of Kintyre, always strolling in from the sea. My desire is always to be here. Oh, Mull of Kintyre.
So, if we are in the key of D, then we find ourselves with this, our home chord. But it's interesting, so much of this music starts on the 5. There's the 1. And we're still on the home chord. That sort of and back down to the 5. It's like this rise from 5 to 1, or 1 there somewhere. It's such a feature of it. I'm thinking actually of an Irish traditional song right now, but it's not surprising because so much of this music, traditional music, although there are distinct peoples and traditions, the Irish, the Scottish, the Welsh, they're all in close proximity, and the musical traditions are very linked as well. So it's not surprising that one of the tunes that comes to mind is one that is actually traditional Irish. And that is, forgive my pronunciation, Bochel on Ernia, the boy from Ireland. And it's a more placid kind of romantic love song. However, when you listen to it, you hear it also dwelling on the 5 and the 1. With the 6 always also very much is very common and shows up. It kind of works in that same range. 5, 6, 1. Returning to 1. So then the question is why? Well, we don't want to get too technical here, but notice how the bagpipes have this certain tone that cuts through, and those arpeggios and those, one of the things about bagpipes is that they have a drone note. And to be able to play music that harmonizes with a drone note, you want that drone to be something that actually matches a lot of the notes you're going to be playing. So all these different influences, but I'm just trying to explain and express a bit of why it's so easy to feel and identify it as being from that part of the world.
The sea, my desire,
So singable, right?
always to be here. Oh, more
And the lyrics, I haven't mentioned the lyrics yet.
smiles in the sunshine and tears in the rain still take me back where my memories remain.
Notice that long note held by the bagpipes.
Grow higher and higher as they carry me back to the Mull of Kintyre.
All through there is that long drone note. Oh, some drums here. And here we go. And by this point, you can just get lost in it, right? You feel like you've got to sing along. You just have to sway to it. It becomes part of your DNA, right? And that's another, shall I say, win, meaning for a piece to really feel like folk music, it has to feel natural, and it has to feel like we become part of it. And clearly, this is organized and presented in such a traditional folk manner, but then also the instrumentation and the voicing, all of that is also really helping to create this inclusive, inviting mood where it wants us to come in and sing along with it. It wants us to get carried away with it. It wants us to feel as if we belong there, as if this is somehow coming from us.
My desire is always to be here on Mull of Kintyre. Mull of Kintyre. Oh, mist rolling
And we move up.
from the sea. My
There's this sort of triumphant feel to it.
is always to be here, oh Mull of Kintyre.
And you hear them singing as it fades out. Thank you to all of you who voted for this piece of music. It was such a treat. I love it. It's one that is going to go on my playlist, I'm certain, probably in my folk music playlist, because when I'm in the mood to hear folk music, I'm in the mood to hear something like this. I also like the way the lyrics seem to really capture the sense of homeland, the sense of belonging, the desire to return. For I have traveled and much have I seen, dark distant mountains with valleys of green, past painted deserts, the sun sets on fire, as he carries me home to the Mull of Kintyre, and sweep through the heather like deer in the glen, carry me back to the days I knew then. So much of it, you could, if you wished, you could dismiss it as kind of sappy, sentimental, but it's not. It's not, I think, from my perspective, because it expresses the real, genuine feelings, true sense of belonging that many of us have to the places where we grew up, to the place that is our home, our identity. And that is what I think is so beautifully expressed in these lyrics. Smiles in the sunshine, tears in the rain, still take me back where my memories remain. They carry me back to the Mull of Kintyre. I love it. It's beautiful. And okay, it's McCartney and Laine, but I feel like it's kind of fun to see McCartney post-Beatles, and I have heard and sometimes mentioned how with the Beatles I hear little hints, influences of British Isles folk traditions showing up here and there along the way. This puts aside all pretenses and says, I belong here. This is my home. I'm not trying to make something that appeals to the entire world, although it just might appeal to the entire world. But the musical style, the lyrics, the singing style, the choice of instruments, putting bagpipes, it's really flying a flag and saying, I embrace this. And McCartney seems pretty good doing something like that, because what has he done? He's shown me, at least to date in my Beatles journey, that he can do everything from 1920s, 30s musical pastiche to all kinds of other stuff. But he's really great at catching a mood, a sentiment, an emotion, musically, sonically. And I grow more and more appreciative of that ability that he has. So what a lovely experience. Thank you all again. That was my first time hearing Mull of Kintyre, and I'm looking forward to what you choose for me next week.